Due to extensive popular requests, the topic is now back to the idea that a human can be part animal. But seriously, I thought this fad had already died out with the whole gender as a spectrum thing. I've already made a video talking about their subculture arguments, but really, some people push it into the extreme. And one example is the channel Pink Dolphin, or PD, who has actually challenged my channel before. Naturally, the main opposition that commentary channels have are pushing it into the educational system. Well, fasten your seatbelts because a video exists about how to be a Therian in school.
Got him!
Just a disclaimer, pets are actually forbidden to enter a school. But let's look at the few pieces of advice on how to be a Therian at school.
If you want to express yourself at school, how can you express yourself? The most obvious, wearing a collar or wearing a tail. Many people still recognize Therians by wearing a collar or tail. It's like, oh, he wears a collar, he might be a Therian. However, I also know that wearing a collar or wearing a tail can be tied to pet play around stuff, so sexual stuff, but also furry, teen werewolf, even gothic, like chokers. So wearing a collar does not always mean it's a Therian.
I have to stop right here. When I went to middle school and high school, we were, not allowed to come dressed in costumes on Halloween, just that one day of the year. But these people want to go dressed like that every day. I guess certain psychologists were wrong. These people don't only exist online.
If you see someone wearing a collar, ask before you assume they're a Therian, because there might be something else. Same for tails. Tails were actually made to hang on bags or on your side of your pants. It was actually a state of fashion that was designed for people to wear. It was actually already fashion. A Therian just made it fashion for a Therian. So there might not be a Therian. Wearing a tail can also be a furry thing or even a pet play thing. Teen werewolf, and taxidermy, culture, animals in general, or anything alike.
You do know that this fashion isn't very common, so people don't go off thinking it's something normal, especially since they mostly put it on their bags or jackets, as you even show in your own video. Not to mention that pet play or teen werewolf aren't exactly a common thing either, and people don't go out in public that often. So naturally people think that stuff is weird too.
Besides that, you can also wear other merchandise that is less catching an eye, like necklaces with your third type or Theta Delta. You can also wear t-shirts, or you can even wear t-shirts that I make, by the way, in Redbubble shop, link in the description, that literally say Dogkin, Catkin, Wolfkin, Coyotekin, Therian, Allerkin, Happy Therian, Happy Allerkin, and other kind of related codes and images that are directly specifying to Therian trophy or Allerkinity. So you can walk around to school with a giant Theta Delta on your belly.
But that has the same result as wearing collars or tails, since they say otherkin for all to see.
Also express yourself by telling people, just like your friends, telling hey, have you heard about Therian trophy? And talk about it. Many people actually honestly accept this. Many teenagers do accept Therian trophy pretty easily, as long as you explain it well and make clear that you're not insane.
That you're not insane? Well, have fun with that.
Little side note about that. With making clear you're not insane, I don't mean literally telling, hey, I'm a Therian, but I'm not insane, guys, I'm not crazy. Because if you do that, people tend to actually go research on it and on the insane part and actually take it seriously. Like, if you don't mention it and treat it as something like fun, like, hey, I'm a Therian, look at this is me, it's cool, right? It might actually come over as, hey, I'm a Therian, that's cool, right? But when you be like, hey, I'm a Therian, I'm not insane, look at this, it's not insane, I'm not crazy, it might rather make them scared and suspicious of, are they really not crazy if they're mentioning it like that? It just sounds kind of crazy.
That wouldn't make a difference. A lot of people tend to be objective about it and form their conclusion based on the research, and the research doesn't, talk too kindly about them.
Yes, why should you express yourself as a Therian? As I thought, we often like to express ourselves. It is also actually lower stress. Like, if you can be yourself without worrying, so if you're not being bullied, you can actually be more confident at school. You can have friends and be rather to talk to them or rather to stand up and be the leader. You can be confident in who you are. Like, you can be comfy and relaxed in your class by knowing you can be who you are without any problems. So that's why I really recommend expressing yourself at school or trying to. It can also be a lot of fun and it can make you meet other Therians.
Well, look, if you feel like that, by all means, be it. But what people are most disillusioned by is how this community claims that this is real. It's going to enter the same category that many other recent and previous movements have gone. Can you guess which ones? Now, for her next part, she talks about bullying. And look, although I am strongly against bullying and I don't think anyone should be bullied regardless of how weird they might be, it does not go on to the case the fact that most people do not find this stuff normal and they wouldn't agree to be involved with said people. They wouldn't bully them, like I said, I don't agree with bullying, but I don't think they want to associate with those kinds. But for the last tip, PD actually recommends that Therians wear a tail in school. Like actually wearing a piece of cloth sticking out your pants while going to class and walking around the hallways.
Besides that, if you wear a tail, I highly recommend you to do certain things to prevent it from being pulled or being broken. Sometimes those things don't work. Over time, most of them don't work. It's kind of the key to just prevent as much as possible. At school, people tend to pull tails because tails, well, they're long, they wiggle around and they're funny. If you walk around in a crowded space with lots of people around you, that you can't probably move around, if you have this much space, you're pretty much fine. But if you've got this much space, people can grab stuff, including your tail. What I highly recommend in such crowded area that you put your tail at the side of your pants instead of the back. And even more than that, hold your tail, please. Hold your tail against your belly to protect the tail. Same if you're walking up on the stairs or running or something like that. Please hold your tail, because when you're walking up on the stairs, your tail is literally hanging in someone's face. Sometimes you can put it at the side of your pants, sometimes even at the front of your pants. Please do that. I'll put a link in the description to my anti-pull system.
I really don't think that will set off a pleasant vibe. Take a look at how furries and pranksters feel when they walk around with tails.
I don't really remember the exact circumstances that led me to decide to wear the tail for 5 days, but I did bring it upon myself. My name's Joanna Rothkopf, I'm 26 years old and I'm the features editor at Jezebel. ASOS started selling tails a few months ago inexplicably. And I know we were all joking on Slack about why they had started doing that. And there was a back and forth between me and Emma Carmichael, the editor of Jezebel, where she said, "Who's going to wear the tail?" And I said, "I'll wear the tail." And she said, "Wear it for a week." And I said, "Okay." It didn't really hit me until I left work and had to walk around with quite a long tail, that this would really change my life for the worse. It's hard to sit down places. It's hard to wear jackets. It's really hard. I could have chosen a smaller tail that hung low, but I chose a large tail that hangs high. I have found myself taking some cabs that I wouldn't have taken. On the streets, all of a sudden, every man feels it's appropriate to compliment my tail by saying "nice tail," or "your tail is showing." After 4 days, I do feel like I can cope with having a long green tail. And that's been good, that I've really learned about my own emotional elasticity. And I listen to music that's very inspiring. So I feel like I'm at the end of a movie and I've overcome. I'm going home with swelling instrumentals, and then I can walk through Union Square with my tail bobbing behind me and feel confident. Humans are very adaptable, and this morning when I was commuting, I noticed, but I didn't really notice, and that at least is hopeful to me.
Not only that, but I think the school staff will ask you to take it off.
You know that I'm not. What you mean? You know what I mean, Therian. You know that I'm not that well for you. Now get out of my room!
Given that, based on how PD commented on my last video, she seems to believe that any criticism that responds to this movement is just a misunderstanding. But really, in the end, it is actually her that is misunderstanding. No one is claiming that this subculture represents this or that. What people are claiming is that it is not a thing. You are a human. Liking an animal does not mean you are one.